morning everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this really cute, easy rose. I am using 20 grams of the worsted weight Bernat Handicrafter yarn and a 6.5 millimeter hook and some buttons, which I love to put into the center of the rose just to give it a cute little touch. So, oh yes, we also need a tapestry needle, definitely, because we're going to be sewing the rose together at the end. So all we're going to be doing is, of course, starting with our slip knot and then chaining 35. So you can go ahead and work that chain and I'll meet up with you to start row 1. So working into the 5th chain from the hook, we are going to place a double crochet. Then we're going to be chaining 1 and skipping 1 chain and working a double crochet into the next chain. And working into that same stitch, we're going to chain 1 and go right back in with another double crochet into that same chain. Then I'm going to chain 1, skip a chain below, work a double crochet, chain 1, and then a double crochet back into that same stitch. So that's going to actually be your repeat for this row. You're going to chain 1, skip the chain below, and then work a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet back into that same stitch. So just work that all the way along and I'll meet up with you at the end. Okay, so we're at the end of row 1 here and we are just going to work a double crochet followed by a chain 1 followed by a double crochet. Then before we turn our work, we're just going to chain 2. And then we're going to start working into those chain 1 spaces. Okay, so what we did in our last row is we created a bunch of chain 1 spaces. So if you see the ones that look like a V here, those are the ones we're going to be working the multiple stitches into, and the smaller ones here are just going to be a slip stitch. So we're just going to start our beginning of row 2 into 1. See here, it looks like a V. And we're going to be placing a half double crochet followed by 4 double crochets. You can just move the stitches, pull them so that's 1 to the side if you run out of room, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so I need 1 more double crochet followed by a half double crochet. So you can see here it forms almost like a petal shape. Now where the smaller chain 1 spaces, you're going to work a slip stitch, and that's going to keep the edge, that's going to make it form that nice round hump. Then we're going to repeat the same combination of stitches in the next chain 1 space that looks bigger and it's like a V. So we're going to do the half double crochet followed by 4 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then working right back in that same chain 1 space, we're going to finish it off with a half double crochet. Then in that smaller chain 1 space beside it here, you're going to work a slip stitch. And again, that's just pulling your petals down. Isn't that looking pretty already? So we're going to do the half double crochet followed by 4 double crochets. That's 1. Oop, not yet. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4, followed by 1/2 double crochet, and that finishes off that petal, followed by a single crochet in the next, or sorry, a slip stitch in the next. Okay, so we've done 3 of our petals. So continue doing that all the way around, and then I'll show you how to finish it up. Okay, so we'll just finish off row 2 with that 1/2 double crochet, followed by 5 double crochets. Then we get to the fun part of actually rolling it up and making it a rose. It looks so cute as you work along. You can see it already taking shape. Okay, so we're just going to fasten off here and leave a long end so that there's lots of yarn to sew the rose together and onto any project. So I'll be adding this onto my Chloe beanie that I just did the tutorial for. So now that you have it, all you're going to do is just wind it around like this. And this will take, actually I'm going to do this side because you can see how it's actually curving in. So leave the tail down here and just roll it up. So you can actually make it as tight as you want, as loose as you want, but you can see it taking shape. And there you have it. So they're actually really cute if you just put a button in the middle. So we'll just sew this together now. Okay, so we're gonna start in the middle, and I like to make sure I adjust as I go. So it's nice and tight in the middle. And I kind of like to stagger the leaves as well, so that you've got, you know, one here, and they go to the side. Okay, so I am going to start by taking my needle and thread, and I'm going to work up through the middle. So we'll go down through here. You can see we're catching the back end, and sew it loosely so that you're not changing the shape of the rosette, but you want to be catching all of the petals as you go. Watch this last piece here, and I'll just go down through there, catching all those and adjusting it again as I go. That's looking really cute so far. I just wanted to give you some ideas here of some little buttons that you could use in the middle there. So, and if you were making this for a winter hat, you could put a snowflake in. That looks super pretty. Or a little penguin. Or for a fall hat, you could do a little pumpkin or an owl. So anyways, I just wanted to give you some ideas. But for this one, I'm going to be using this little ladybug here. Just want to show you too, you don't need to use a needle and thread depending on how big your yarn needle is and your button is. You can just really easily just put it right through with one stitch. And there's that there. And we're going to do the leaves next in this color here. For the leaf, I'm going to be using a very small amount of the Handicrafter cotton worsted weight in teal, but you can use any kind of worsted weight yarn that you want. So the first thing that we're going to be doing, of course, is creating our slip knot. And we're going to use a 6.5mm hook. And we're going to start by chaining 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to be working into the second chain from the hook, so you don't count the loop. Count down 1, 2, and we're going to be working a single crochet into that chain. Then we're going to be working a half double crochet again along the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Then we will be working a double crochet in the next 3. And you'll notice that we're going using a higher stitch as we go, and that's creating the shape of the leaf. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And that is going to bring us to the very first chain that we made, and the last chain in this row. And we're going to be working 3 half double crochet, and that's going to bring us around to the other side of the chain where we'll be working the other side of the leaf. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to be mirroring what we did in the first row. So we're going to be working a double crochet in 3 chains. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to be working a half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. That's 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to be finishing it off with a single crochet in that last chain. And there's your leaf made. They are so simple. And then I just like to join to the very first stitch with a slip stitch, and that makes a nice pointed edge. And that's your leaf made there. All right, so I'll just fasten off and weave in our ends. And then we can be attaching that to the rows. So I'll make up another one and then I'll show you how to attach everything together. Okay, the last thing that we're going to do is just weave in your tail. I'm only weaving in one end because I need the other one to be able to attach it to my project, which in this case is going to be a rose plus a hat. So let's just weave in these ends here, and I'll do the same with my other leaf, and then we will put everything together. So there's that there. So you can choose how you want to sew these together and how you want to place your leaves. I generally just attach mine at the top here, and this isn't really even necessary. You could just sew them directly onto the rows, but I'm just going to show you how to do this. So I just simple stitches here, and again I'm going to leave one tail after I do this for attaching to the rows. I don't know, I guess I feel the more stitches you do, the more secure it is on the final project. So snip that off. Okay, so you can figure out the placement. I kind of like the look of that. And you can just weave in and out here. So you want to catch your rows there. I'm going to show you next how to attach the rose to a hat, and I'll leave a link below for the pattern that I used for this little beanie. So attaching the rose to the project is really easy. I just have the same color yarn as the rose, and you see me working back and forth around the center of the rose. And then what I do is I start working through each layer of the rose petals to ensure that the rose doesn't start coming away from the hat or the cushion or whatever you're attaching it to. And then I like to just shape the rose at the end and just weave in your ends there. And that's it, all done. I hope you enjoyed this video.